Hey, welcome to I am Jurgen, actually, is what I wanted to say.
And I'm Victor.
Yeah. And I should actually say, my name is Jurgen Robinson. I'm with ProSmart Realty in Arizona, John L. Scott in Washington. And
I'm Victor Mitchell with John L. Scott Olympia, the talent group here in Washington.
and this is a market to market, state to state report coming live. All right. Victor, this is our very first market to market report. We're going off the fly. We have information that we're looking forward to sharing. And for you, this is really one of the bigger this is your live. This is your debut.
It is. And I am excited to be here, excited to share some news about how the market's been going here in Washington and, give you some pointers on what's to come.
Yeah. And so this being the first one, you'll see us stumble on a word. We'll pick up our footing along the way. But most importantly, we've got some information that we're looking to share. Victor's put together some things on Washington State specifically. And if anybody is considering from Arizona looking at Washington, you'll definitely want to peek in on what's happening. If anybody in Washington or even in Arizona is looking to know what's happening in Arizona, I got you too. And we're going to kind of compare this information. We'll ask a few questions. If you have any questions, put them into the comments. As a matter of fact, under the comments, Donna, thank you for being a fan. Donna is saying good afternoon.
All hey, right.
Donna. So, Victor, you have been in Washington State for pretty much your life, and you've been actually a rookie of the year with our offices in Washington State, and you keep tabs on the market. What do you see going on? Like, what would you like to share about Washington State?
So in Washington, we are, kind of seeing a little bit of a market shift. But to zoom out at first, we have our interest rates are sort of kind of settling in the low sixes, sometimes in the possibly high fives. Moving forward, let's add this in here so we can see our markets are kind of coming down from those peaks that we had during the summertime and the 7.5%. And with the federal funds rate kind of slowing their increases over the last couple of inflation reports, we can hopefully see some positive news moving forward for mortgage rates. Zooming into Pierce and Thurston counties, we can see that your average sales price has been coming down a little bit, kind of making some sellers a little bit nervous over the last 6 months to list their home. Just kind of, should we wait for the bottom and wait for prices to come back up, or should we just list our house now? Those kind of some of the big questions that are going on right now. All of that bringing, some great news for buyers. Buyers can kind of take a second to relax and not have to make such quick decisions. With homes sitting a little bit longer, we have some time to, really do our inspections and making sure we're making the right decision moving forward. Closed sales, we're in that slower time of year where, sales aren't happening as much as during, say, the summertime when, sales kind of hit their peak. And, that's just another indication that we're not really in the market that we were in the last couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once again, days on market, we're kind of climbing up there. We haven't really seen these kinds of numbers in the last few years, and it just makes that choosing your agent, making sure you have the right marketing plan, all of that more important to make sure you're setting the expectation for your clients to maybe need to wheel and deal to get your home off the market in a shorter amount of time.
Nice. Victor, with what you've got there, I mean, you were talking a little bit about the days on market, kind of extending up to, what was that, about the mid-20s and then 20 days, and then the closed sales volume being down a bit, the new listings are down. What does this mean? Like, if I was looking out of state and I was looking into Washington, maybe I'm looking to buy in Washington. What are some things you would maybe encourage me to look at, or what should I kind of know going in?
So if you're looking to buy in Washington right now, it's turning to that being a good time for buyers. We're starting to see buyers get sellers to cover closing costs or even also a rate buy down for them. So, with that lesser cash to close, it's making that jump a little bit easier for buyers to come on over and, secure that place that they really want in Washington.
Nice. And one of the things is, even though the market has been shifting, inventory levels, like for sellers, at first, last year, sellers were afraid to put their home on the market because what were they going to buy? How are they going to buy a home? And now sellers are still hesitating. Like, what should sellers understand about the market right now?
They just need to understand that different expectation. They're not going to list their home and sell it with 10 offers in 2 weeks. They just really need to make a plan that they may sit on the market for, those 20 or 30 days, and they may not get their full ask right away. So just setting that expectation in the beginning, just to make it a stress-free transaction like it should be, is super, super important.
Yeah. I know we've seen values start to plateau and in some cases even fall a little bit through the year here. But even with that, what I know I'm seeing down here is that even though we've got that, anyone who's purchased a home over a year ago, their equity, their appreciation is still in there. The ones that maybe that level is pretty flat, worse would be is when it peaked out kind of in the March, May timeframe. That's when the prices ended up closing at their very highest. But from if anyone kind of a year or over, especially over a year, most of those they still have appreciation gains over the time. We would see a little bit of that negating here, but as far as a big drop, there's nothing that would indicate that we should have any level of big drop. Is that how it's feeling in Washington as well?
Yeah, I completely agree. The buyers, like you said, that were buying between that March and May point, they're just going to have to wait a little longer for their appreciation to kind of show through. But like you said, anything over a year, there's definitely, more than average appreciation for all those guys still, even though we're seeing the prices come down a little bit.
Yeah, the double-digit appreciation over the past
For
couple of
sure.
years has been almost crazy.
Right.
Has been kind of crazy. Trust me.
Definitely.
We're all happy to have our hair still with us.
Right.
Well, looking at that, so that's kind of a nice little capsule. And, Victor, that's great on Washington State, understanding a little about what buyers can expect or people who might be relocating to expect. And, if ever have any questions, definitely reach out to Victor Mitchell, John L. Scott. And then in Arizona, Jurgen Robinson, and that would be ProSmart here in Arizona. I use some slides from a Cromford report, and it's interesting. You can get numbers that are historical and they will tell you what has happened. And then you're trying to figure out what is happening, but very few things actually look at the numbers and try to forecast out what to anticipate or expect. Cromford is a bunch of statisticians. They look at that, but they look at leading indicators to help us understand where the market is going, not just where it's been or where it is at this moment. But prior to that, Victor, you talked about mortgage rates to start. We are seeing this. This is from Mortgage Daily News, and it had been peaked at in the low 7%. Now, as of December 15th, we're at 6.313%. Of course, that varies depending on what you're putting down, what you might buy down, what your credit rating is. A bunch of factors go into that. But that's the average at 6.13%. So we are seeing it get down to where buyers feel like I can actually do something. It almost felt like the purchasing power when it was in the sevens, it dropped so much. So you can take a breath because, as you mentioned, there are some buy downs that are going on as well. The other part here is the mortgage rate history. Recessions. We can say whether we qualify something into or not into a recession, but whenever we've seen a recession, as we come out of any recession, we've always seen those mortgage rates drop. So that's also a nice, a good sign of where we're headed in terms of mortgage rates along the way. Right now, though, because you have this little area where the rates are a little bit maybe they're a little bit higher, but you have opportunities for buy downs, etc. And the market is kind of stalled a little bit. Buyers are tentative about, many buyers are tentative about jumping in, and sellers are still kind of holding off. There's not a huge amount of competition right at this moment. People have some opportunities that they might not have in the next 3 to 6 months. So just, just a little piece of advice there. And people that are worried about a bubble, this is one thing that should help ease that. One of the biggest causes of the bubble was people were over leveraged on their homes. So many people that were underwater when the market took a turn, it dropped so dramatically. And these were what the foreclosure rates, pre-foreclosure rates looked like during that time. We're at such a low volume. That's one of the reasons why you can feel like, okay, there are certainly things that are influencing the market, but as far as crashing the market, there aren't those factors. There aren't the areas where people were just speculating and turning. It's been a very strong, just frantic market, but it's been through more like really low mortgage rates and very low inventory. So we're actually kind of looking forward to a more normalized, even market. So this is the Cromford Report. Victor, the CMI, this is how they forecast out, and it's really cool with the market index. When they do these numbers and they run everything, if anything is, when that market index, CMI, is below 90, it would be a buyer's market. Between 90 and 110 is a, let's call it a bounce market. And then anything over 110 is really a seller's market. Last year, in through the past 2 years, we've seen it pegging like in 500 plus. It's been insane how strong a seller's market it was. And we felt it because everybody, there was nothing a seller would give or have to give. And everything was going under contract, 10, 50, 80K above asking price. Whew. Breathe. That's not where we're at now. So what you can see here, I'm not going to go so much into here. It just shows in 22 that we're more in balance, where we've been just out of balance in the past 2 years. This is the market index. It goes in 3 different ways. The smaller one on the side is the supply. That's the number of listings that are on the market. There are less listings than would typically be on the market at this time, 78.1, which means it's in the seller's advantage on the supply side. But the demand index, with what's been going on with mortgage rates, the news, everything else going on, the demand index is low at 71.1. You put those together, you come up with the CMI. That gets us in the low neutral range, which is great. This is what we love to see, because that means people are able to breathe a little bit. Sellers still have the ability to negotiate. Buyers have the ability to negotiate. And it feels like a much more balanced way of being able to do things. Now, that is on the low side of the balanced market. We're very close. We just inched up from being in a very high buyer's market for the whole Phoenix Valley area as a whole. So you can see this. And then this is kind of interesting to see. So when we take a look at the whole picture, so these are major cities within the Phoenix metro area. You see Fountain Hills, Sellers Market are the top 4. And between Fountain Hills, Cave Creek, Paradise Valley, they're great areas. Scottsdale is a fantastic area too. Scottsdale's gone down just a little bit, but these are actually in sellers markets. Sellers have a little bit more of an advantage from both the demand and the inventory standpoint. Balanced markets, we've got Chandler, Phoenix, Glendale, great areas. Glendale, there's a bunch of activity that's going to be going over there right now, very soon, with the Super Bowl and the Waste Management Tour, and just always something going on. So you've got those in balanced markets right now. You've got Tempe and Gilbert in kind of a mild buyer market. You have a little stronger with Mason, Avondale's, Peoria, Surprise. I'm down here in Queen Creek, which says it's a stronger buyer market. So, but we are seeing all these green arrows are saying that it's starting to inch back up to a more balanced market in most areas. And you can see that kind of coinciding with the rate adjustments that are going on. As the rates come down, buyers feel like they can more accurately get in to the market. I had my child walking by with his phone on way loud, and I forgot to close the door. Thank you for going live. All right, here we go. And then Just wrapping up on this, we've got the median market, median days on market. You're talking about Washington's about 25. I think that was the number.
Yep.
We're
Yeah,
right
20.
about 49. We're almost double that. And that
Wow.
December is always the peaking in here. So 49, that means even in you might expect that to be about 60, 49. This says we're in a much more balanced market than a frenzy. That's not a terrible number to look at. And then we've got the number of price reductions. 13% of active listings last week alone had price reductions, and the median price reduction being 10,000. So people are getting more accustomed. The price reductions have been big at the beginning because people didn't know how to price their home, and they still wanted to continue to push. People are getting more accustomed to what the price reduction level should be. And then concessions. This is kind of the big one. Is 48%, and this is what is actually reported in the ARMLS, the ARMLS, is 48% of the transactions that closed had price concessions. This is telling you there is more flexibility in negotiation that is available for buyers right now. And then the average price concession, or the average concession paid, was nearly $10,000. So that might be on inspections, it might be on closing costs, might be on a number of different things. If you want to know more, reach out. We can definitely help you with it. But as a buyer, for the first time in years, you have options and choices, so we can help you. And then I think that was the last slide. Then I have just a little summary for you. Okay. So have this written down. And this is from Cromford as well. Just, Greater Phoenix area is finally back in a buyer's market, or in a balanced market. October, December is seasonally the best time for a buyer because of inventory, less competition, etc. And that bleeds over into January and February. So this month into the next couple months, as a buyer, this is a prime time for you to be able to get the best deal. Owners with 2+ years of ownership still have significant profits, appreciation that they've been able to see in their homes. Rate buy downs. Victor, you were talking about rate buy downs.
Yeah.
We're definitely a part of the equation right now for
sure.
Something that sellers can help with, and buyers are able to get in there as well. 2 to 5 year appreciation rates are 28 to 75%. 65.5% of active resale listings were purchased more than 2 years ago. Great. That means that the sellers are in strong enough positions that they can sell. They're not selling underwater, and then they're able to make the moves. Like, what are you, with this in mind, Victor, when people are selling their home right now, are they selling it to just sell it, or what are sellers thinking about, like, right now?
Well, people that are always going to have a reason to list their home or sell their home. Things like work relocation, not being able to work remote anymore is a big one right now as well. Just, kind of lifetime changes, getting married, divorced, things like that. There's those lifetime changes that put you in a position where you kind of need to sell, or, it's not really, like you said, it's not really that, hey, I'm just going to sell my home to kind of cash out and move somewhere else. It's going to be for a reason at this time.
Yeah. Much more of those life events. The things we used to sell our home for.
Right.
Change a job. We just had, we're with child. We're going to be growing the family. We might be empty nesting. It's more towards those life events. So this feels good. It feels like a real shift, but it feels good when we think about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, with this is the first time we're doing this and trying to give a little context between the two different states and what you might look for. I would say we definitely welcome your feedback, any comments that you have on what we can do. If there's something that you want to know about and we can bring that to you, definitely let us know. What are you thinking, Victor?
Yeah, if you ever have any questions on, what it's like to go from Arizona to Washington or vice versa, we've both done both. So we'd be so happy to share our experiences and, help you make an informed decision with whatever you need to do.
Yeah. And if you want to know what makes one of these two states great, we would be happy to do that as well. If you want to know what we love most about, either Washington State or Arizona, or what we may have found as some of the biggest differences between the two, happy to entertain it.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what, Victor, we did it.
We did do it. We shared some information. We had some fun. We had some laughs. I couldn't be happier. This was amazing. Thanks for inviting me along.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for carrying the load there. And we'll put out some more information. Today was really that first shot, and just appreciate you doing that. Donna, thank you for the feedback on the great info. Anything that we can do, we are in line to do, and we'll make sure we get our contact info, all those things up later. Kind of forgot it on this one, but we'll get it dialed in for sure.
Yeah.
All right. How should we end, Victor?
Well, up here in the talent group, we always end with a big Be Bold. So let's keep that going on, and
Awesome.
we can do a Be Bold in 3, 2,